As always, there is no good way to transition from comments that people choose to share with us as a board to the rest of our meeting. So I'm just going to acknowledge that and proceed with the agenda. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda, which contains routine business items that we approve as a slate unless there is an item that a board member would like removed for individual consideration. I have not heard, nor do I see any board member getting ready to do so. So with one moment of pause, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
We have a motion by Michael Birdman and a second by, that was Dan, right? Dan Ginestra. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The chair votes aye and the consent agenda is approved. We are going to move next to our instructional report, and I'm so excited to welcome our other guests here in the boardroom. Retha Burns, our iTrack coordinator and special education senior manager, is going to provide an update on the iTrack program and introduce two very special guests with us.
They are very special. Thank you very much, Madam Chair and board members. It's just delightful to be here and to share about the good work we're doing. Kirsten, you stand up real quick or just wave. This is one of our journey workers who was able to make it tonight. We're really grateful. And then Agol is one of our apprentices. So I just want to clap because it's so exciting.
Yes.
And I want to start by saying it takes a lot of bravery and maybe a big leap of faith for all of our journey workers and apprentices, because as we move through, we're developing and learning together. And so they have to give us feedback and help us. And I just feel like they're like the heroes of the day. So we have several, we have 8 pairs. And so it's pretty exciting to see them moving forward. So I'm really grateful for their willingness to participate. So iTrack, Intermediate Teacher Residency Apprenticeship Collaborative. So it's exactly what it means. It was a collaborative between the 4 intermediates. Just refreshing what is apprenticeship. And you might think of it in terms of like an electrician or a pipe fitter. But what happened was building off of Biden's Good Jobs Initiative, the Department of Labor and Industry saw the need in teachers across the United States. And so they broadened that pathway up to include teachers so that we could begin apprenticeship programs. Why apprenticeship? When you think right here, these numbers, the 9.75 statewide, that's how many teachers we have that are teaching in like a tier 1, tier 2, or an out of field, which means they are not considered highly qualified. When you look at the intermediates, the 4, we did an average of the 4. So between the 4 of us as intermediates, 21% are not highly qualified. And that's really impactful when you think that we have the most complex kiddos, right, in our buildings. And so why apprenticeship? Because we need to find more pathways to encourage our staff to become teachers. Another why, we only have 4.35% across the state of our teachers that are teachers of color. And we know the research shows, we know our kids tell us that what we need is for our kids to be able to identify with our teachers that are standing in front of them. And that's really important. Apprenticeship also is an earn while you learn, which means that we're going to be removing barriers. We did a survey in the beginning as this was getting started. What's keeping you from becoming a teacher? It was time and money. So this really breaks that down. There's still time involved, as everyone would say, but it's not the same as having to go to classes after school on site on Saturdays doing whatever, trying to make it work. So they really literally are learning in the classrooms while they're earning their salary. Here's the 4 intermediates. So this has been a big collaborative effort. So it started with Mankato State working and being willing to step up and revamp, actually completely revise not only their curriculum, but their way of thinking about education. It's a pretty brave space to be in for them as well, and I'm very grateful. So then they brought us all together. We had union members, we had teachers, ESPs, we had all kinds of people in there, a couple of us that are in like the SPED division, working to help align curriculum, as well as like revamp what it was going to be. So we included the standards of effective practice as well, which we're ahead of the game on that, and also the high leverage practices from the Council of Exceptional Children. So that's all embedded within the curriculum. They're the only in the state Bachelor's of Science that comes out with endorsements in ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder, and EBD, emotional behavioral disorder. So when a goal finishes, she's ready to go, highly qualified in both categorical areas, which is pretty exciting, and the other apprentices as well. So our structure here locally and then across the intermediates, we start with our apprentices and our journey workers, and they're in those classrooms working together every day and learning. And then we have navigators, and I put coach up there. They really are called an iTrack navigator. They very specifically are coaching towards the competencies that we want to see in our apprentices, not only coaching the apprentices, but the teams and the journey worker as well would occur at times. We're doing something with them called a structured experience as well, where we pre-meet. It's the coaching cycle. We pre-meet, we talk about what is going to be seen in an observation. We observe, and then we come back and we group up and we talk again about what that experience was about and how we can move the practice forward. I'm the coordinator, so I work a lot with Mankato, and I work with Gina Boots, who's the liaison, and we just continue to coordinate and continue to try to bring that feedback back to Mankato to see what's happening in the field. Gina Boots is the liaison. So according to Department of Labor and Industry, every apprenticeship has to have a sponsor. And so when we were designing our work, what we decided is we didn't just need a sponsor. We needed someone who was going to connect the 4 intermediates, because to keep that practice aligned, we needed someone who was going to be boots on the ground in each of those places, bringing back information to us. And so that's her role. We meet, Gina and I and Mankato meet, and the other coordinators meet every week with the navigators. So we're staying lockstep in our practice around what is happening in the classroom and bringing up challenges and then successes as well. What does learning look like? Related technical instruction is all these new words are all because the Department of Labor and Industry. But related technical instruction is what we would in our minds consider just the traditional classroom. It's not really, but that's what you would think of. So they come together either in person or online together, and they receive instruction. They're receiving the theoretical knowledge that they need to have to put practices into place, and then the technical skills. So like, I think it was last week or the week before when I was there, they're learning how to do curriculum-based measures. And so they're learning that, they're practicing, and then they're immediately taking that practice around data collection into their classroom, and they're practicing. I talked about the structured experiences. I think what's really important to think about too is those journey workers. The teacher, the mentor teacher is constantly modeling, and we've coached them about pulling back the curtain, because there's so many things they do with automaticity that they're not even thinking about, like how they structure a classroom or why they're doing something thinking ahead. And we're encouraging them to be sure that they're voicing that to their apprentices so they can really see a look behind, the curtains at what's happening. This, I think, is in your handouts. This is the scope and sequence. This is what we developed together with Mankato. Again, they don't walk in and do intro to the profession and learning and human development. It's all kind of blended together, but the technical pieces of this and the theoretical pieces are there within the related technical instruction. Do you want mine?
Thank you, though.
You bet.
Thanks.
So what is job embedded? They're there doing the work every day. The journey workers are there providing feedback. I sometimes think they were already doing it, right? Because as ESPs, they're so highly skilled and we are so individualized with our students, but it is putting more of that theoretical knowledge and then more of the things that they don't see every day into practice. We have a plan on a gradual release. So while we're working this year on getting comfortable with students and reviewing IEPs or doing things like that, next year is a full year of student teaching. So they're going to be there co-teaching and teaching with their students for the year and continuing to get the navigator support, the coordinator, and the journey worker support. So over the summer, we addressed these areas here. We introduced high leverage practices, the standards for effective practice. We talked about what competency-based learning would look like, and we talked a little bit about case studies and what job embedded would look like. They did, and Nicole could probably tell you more, but they did just a lot of ground, building the foundations for the work. Oh, that prerequisite, some of our apprentices weren't quite ready for classes. They had to have 53 credits in all the right areas before they could enter in or have that AA in the teacher preparatory classes. So they were willing I mean, I was just excited for them to take additional coursework to catch up on those credits. So some of them are doing an additional course right now, which is a traditional course to fill those needs. So they're very busy. They're busy people. So this summer, we had 16 learning sessions. We had a day in June that was a kickoff. We had 9 related technical instruction days for the apprentices. And then we had a 4-day fall orientation where journey workers, coordinators, everybody came together, navigators. We had a big kickoff with a lot of training. We did a lot of around coaching. What's that look like? Because everybody's a coach. The navigator's a coach, the mentor teacher's a coach, the journey. The apprentices were coaching and helping the journey workers learn about the high leverage practices because they'd been learning them over the summer. So then they got to share and present back information. So we're trying to keep voices, equal in the classrooms as much as possible. This fall, there's 4 major assignments. So these assignments are going to roll into each other. So right now they've picked 2 students, hopefully one with a disability of ASD and one of EBD, so autism and emotional behavioral, so that they're getting that. If that's not working, that's okay because classrooms don't always have that. So then we're going to find those experiences for them during the summer or during spring break. We'll be sure that they're getting those experiences so they get the exposure they need. Those students become their case study. And so when they were coming to do their data collection, they're using those students and they're practicing with those students and getting to know them really well, reviewing the IEPs. They're not writing them, they're reviewing them, they're looking at evals, how's that all connect, maybe attending meetings as per families, allow that kind of a thing. So they're really just getting to take a really broad look at what's happening as a teacher. Those assignments will move on into the next block in the spring as well. So they just continue to build on that. There's 2 blocks. So there's a summer block and then there's the fall block and the spring block. So there's this block there now and then the next one. There's 5 learning sessions, which were those related technical instruction sessions that will be happening during the school year. We pull them out of school. They're getting paid. They come here or to Edina and they receive their instruction. It's 8 hours and it's long. It's a lot, but they seem to be handling it really well. So it's been good so far. They do ask for breaks. I think they need more breaks. So I try to be there. The navigators are always there. So we're just keeping lockstep with what's happening. And actually the instructor that is instructing them is going to be coming to Intermediate 287 to do some touring, spending a day, not just in the apprentice and journey workers rooms. I want her to see all of us. And so we're going to go around and just really visit so she can get a really good handle on what's going on in our classrooms. And that's it. But we have a video and then we'll take some questions. Thanks, Winnie.
Had a similar program when I was learning to teach because there's only so much you can learn about teaching from a book.
I think just the length of time that you get to spend with your mentor teacher is really cool in this program. Normal student teaching programs are, 6-8 weeks long, and then you're kind of on your own. Whereas this, you get 2 years to really, dig into what it looks like to be a teacher and to be a teacher in this setting, I think is really unique. So to have just that length of experience under their belts before they move into their own classrooms is
I don't know if we all would just put our collective brains in it, it's gonna go faster. I wish that would work.
Masters need to run faster.
Might have to reload it.
Yeah. We can try that, and if that doesn't work, then maybe we can do questions and then let the video buffer and we can watch it at the end.
Such a good video. So yeah.
I really want to watch the whole thing, because the first 40 seconds were great.
It gets better.
So yeah.
Any
let's-
questions? Yeah, let's just open it up. If there's
start with that.
questions about anything or anything you're wondering.
We'll go Kim and then Karen.
So just to make sure I understand, these are students that have done their first 2 years in wherever Mankato or whatever
Yes.
school, and now they're finishing up, right?
Correct. So there's two, we call them preparatory years, like
Yeah.
teacher preparatory years. They
Okay.
may have done them at a community college, or they could be at one of the universities. So yeah, there's a
And-
whole variety.
So then I'm sure we've heard about this before, but I don't remember. How do students hear about this program? How do they apply for it? What's that process?
So I went to every program, every site, and I just did a big, look what's happening here. And if you were interested, then they did an application, and then we're gonna clean it up. It was pretty quick last year. We did it in like a month's time. It was pretty fast and furious, but we want to be really thoughtful and we want people to be prepared. One of the things we're hoping to do is we're hoping to hire an outside consulting to do some videoing so that we can really create more clarity around what it looks like and be able to explain better to future apprentices what's happening. Just as a side note, we have other teacher pathways I'm working on, and I have a list of about 50 people who really want to try their hand at being a teacher. So we got lots of work ahead.
Karen, go ahead.
Kim's first question was my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Michael.
I'm curious as to, even though it's new, but our capacity. What is our capacity for the number of students? 50, you just said it might be interested. How many could we in 287, but also cluster 4 consortium components? How many students could we actually serve in terms of this program?
It's going to depend.
Yeah,
Right now we have 24 across the 4 intermediates, so that's good. We wrote the grant to serve 10
okay.
per intermediate. I already have 8. So that means just with that, there's 2 or 3 more we could maybe support in the next year. But as far as like they're opening up other funding options in the nation. So WIOA funds are a funding source that comes from the Department of Labor and Industry. You have to have been in practice for over a year with your data before you can apply for those. So there's other fundings. Marcy Dodd, our superintendent, is working really hard legislatively to advocate to help us keep this going. As far as capacity, as far as teacher willingness and staff readiness, I think we have a lot that still want to be journey workers. And so I think that way in-house, we're good. We just have to figure out that finance.
Okay.
And of all those that I was listening, I'm picturing my spreadsheet, some have just finished high school.
Right.
And, and some have degrees, but they're like dental hygienists. And so but we have pathways to help them get there. So they have those preparatory classes completed. We're also looking at how does that highly qualified for paras? How does that equate into like credit and experience? We're also looking at how would experience be counted for some of that. So just a whole lot going on right now at the state level, trying to get this sorted out so we can get people fast tracked in.
Yeah, well, that actually gets a little part of my second question, which was when you mentioned that they have to have their preparatory before they could come here. By knowing that this is available, does that help people want to enter into the preparatory pathway?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for
And
sure.
that kind of goes to what I
Yeah.
think you were asking as far as your kind of recruitment standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking not just recruitment once you're in school,
Yeah.
but prior to, because how do we transition? People think this is a pathway for them before they even start their preparatory
Right.
element. And that even try to form relationships to where, yeah, we're here for you as you go through this.
You're hired. You can come on in and help me with the recruit. I think it's great. No, exactly right. That's exactly right. So we just really have to keep on supporting that apprenticeship piece, right? So, yeah.
And then maybe after the video's over, since we have 2 members here, I would then, after I see the video, I might have some questions for them.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Are we ready?
Oh.
No.
Not yet. Okay.
Are you okay? Come on.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to proactively share? Or you can also just be here to stand together for questions.
I do want to say too, for the recruitment part, we're hoping that our apprentices are very happy with the process and that by word of mouth and experience, and this role is really crucial for us getting the feedback we need to be sure that that program stays successful. So, okay, do you have questions?
Any questions or comments from members of the board?
Well, if they're here, I was then gonna ask.
Go for it. Michael.
Sorry. Anytime we have this type of program, what I loved about your slide, because I think we've talked about this before, what are the barriers to enter to this? And you working through the program with the 3 other intermediates, putting iTrack together. I'm just curious as to, for both our journeyman and our apprentice, how did you feel that the way this is set up? How was it helpful to those barriers? Did it actually reduce them and sort of you can make it more successful?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous, but it definitely helped with the barriers. One, with just being an ESP for some time, I already got the background knowledge of it, but then also just not having, like she said, time and the resources to go to school, it relieved a lot of stress, a lot of just what am I gonna do if I want to do this? Like it just opened up a lot of opportunities. So yes, and with the recruitment, there's a lot of people that have been asking questions every day about the program. So yeah,
It's good.
It's good.
And I would say the benefit for me, of course, is that I have an ESP in my classroom for 2 years that really, really wants to do the job, wants to get to know the kids, takes the time to really interact. And so it's a lot of security for me too, knowing that she's really dedicated.
Thank you.
I just want to appreciate all three of you for being part of the first group, right? Like it's a lot to make something like this happen on a super short timeline, probably not entirely knowing how is it going to go? What am I getting into? And so I think to actually be able to launch something like this on the timeline that it happened is incredibly impressive. And just to see the thoughtfulness that is going into making this a great experience for you, like for the future of the program, I'm really impressed. And I went into teaching through an alternative licensure pathway myself. And I just like think how much I would have benefited from something like this, as opposed to the very quick introduction that I had. And then it was full on, you're the teacher of record, like you got this. And so I really admire the approach, and I think it has tremendous power and potential, not just for the intermediates, but actually for
Oh, yeah,
all of
for
our
sure.
schools. So thank you. Thank you.
Jamie, you said I actually was commenting on this at our board meeting on Monday night about how I think 287's approach to build your own
Yeah.
and this type of programming, I think is a leader in our state, and that we could all, at our local districts, benefit from that standpoint. That's number one. Number two is also the fact that I would assume, given this is the new part, I hope both of you feel empowered that to provide very strong feedback. What works well, what doesn't, how to make it work best for you, but then also, as Chair Brackey was just talking about, how do we make it better for all the people who are going to come after you? So being at the front of the spear can be nervous, but it's also invigorating and saying, boy, you really have a thumb and a hand on how it's going to come together. Hopefully you see that as a really wonderful leadership opportunity for yourself as well.
Definitely.
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, and to further what you were saying, Michael, not only are we looking at, the potential expanding this into our own districts, but I'm actually currently sitting on the special work group, the Pellsby Special Work Group,
Oh.
looking at licensing for
Thank you.
reciprocity for special education. And this has potential of rolling into a method for bringing teachers from out of state and getting them special licensing qualifications, where currently the system is not really set up to do that. So, I'm definitely going to be bringing this concept to that work group in order to tell, as a possible movement in the future, of a method in the future of
Wonderful.
teachers from out of state.
Appreciate that work.
The site overall, the video is down.
Oh.
What I'll do is put it in the weekly, updates, I'll put it in.
And everyone's gonna watch it, including the people who aren't here.
Yep.
So you're gonna get more eyeballs. Thank you so much
you.
Thank you.
for
Yeah.
all three of you being with us tonight. Now go enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, as I said before, however you choose to spend it.
Thank you.
We move next to board business, and we have under policy review and revision, second read and request to approve the Title IX policy. And then Dr. Lodge Rogers will share the procedure, which we as a board will not take action on. So first up, the policy, I don't believe there have been any changes since we saw it at our last meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you. This is the second read for the Title IX sex discrimination policy, and there were no edits, no requests for changes. So it, again, just to remind folks, we do identify Dr. Kevin Witherspoon as our Title IX coordinator. And we also have a Title IX page on our website to facilitate reporting and supporting the effort. Any questions? If not, we bring it forward to the board.
Thank you. This is a very short and straightforward policy that is very much rooted in law. So not surprised that there were not changes or that there don't seem to be any questions at the moment, but I'll pause just to be sure. Is there a motion to approve the Title IX policy as presented?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Karen Orcutt and a second by Mike Rumacall. Any final discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye and the policy is approved. So now I will turn it back over to Dr. Lodge Rogers to share the procedure with us.
We brought forward it as a piece of information for you. I think as you review the procedure, it provides the detail in terms of definitions, and then the how and that a complainant might be able to bring forward a complaint. It also provides the timeframes to which we will respond, and how folks are noticed, and then the steps in the investigation, as well as how we get to resolution. And then what would happen as a result if there was a finding related to the grievance. So it outlines for us those steps. Procedures are public facing as well, so that in addition to the policy, then the procedure is there as well for public staff, everyone to be able to review and have access to.
Thank you. Are there questions or comments about the procedure? I will share. I appreciate that for as legal and technical a lot of this is, I actually think it's also written in language that is fairly accessible, which is typically not the case, I think, in procedures like this. And I appreciate the level of detail that it shares about process. So somebody can, I think, read this and actually have a pretty good sense of what they should expect and be able to hold the district accountable too. So I just wanted to specifically acknowledge that as two things I'm grateful for. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I think if things arise as you continue to think about this, feel free to get in touch with Superintendent Dowd directly. As this is a procedure, this is not something, as I said, that we as a board will actually take action on. So with that, we are zooming right along to district news. Just a couple things I wanted to highlight here is that the first get on the bus of the school year is next Tuesday at North Education Center. So if you're planning to attend and you have not done so already, please let Juanine know. And again, guests from your district are always welcome and encouraged at Get on the Bus. And then I just wanted to share our next meeting is on Thursday, October 24th at 6:30 p.m. So look forward to seeing everybody again. And with that, I will take us to once around the table. Any information that board members would like to share with one another? Go ahead, Dan.
Well, yesterday we were fortunate to have our IOCP breakfast, Caring for Kids, our partnership with that organization. It was very special. Two former one current and one former was it a board member was there. So Andrea Keene, I was able to see her, and Sarah Johansson emceed the whole event, which was a conversation between
All sorts of 287s.
oh yeah, all sorts of 287, yeah. Sarah Johansson, emceed the conversation between two specialists, providing for our 0 to 5 and so many other children. So it's just a very fortunate event, and no doubt it was very successful. So we're very happy about that.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, I don't see anything else. So is there, and there's a very important basketball game that started. 6 minutes ago. So we're just gonna say, go Lynx. We're gonna cheer on our hometown basketball team tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
We have a motion by Heidi Marty, a second by Michael Birdman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye, and we are adjourned at 7:06 PM.
Wow. That was quick.
It was gonna be short.
Oh.
Parties today, downtown, shut down.
Right? I know.